Greetings my dear students. Welcome to another video lesson episode for Research 1. Today, you will be learning about the basic science processes, and it is expected that after you watch this lesson episode, you can answer the activities found in your module. So, you may get your module now as we discuss and cover the second topic for quarter 1. But before we proceed on that topic, let's have some recap of the previous lesson. What was discussed in your last module? Yes, that is correct. We tackled about scientific method. You learned that the scientific method involves a series of steps in order for us to investigate a natural occurrence. It is sequential for you to answer a specific question or problem at the beginning of the research process. You learned also on how to distinguish independent from dependent variable. And I hope all the things I have mentioned were clear to you now, my dear students. So, let us proceed. Now, there are things around us that we take for granted, right? So, if you will be asked to describe, let's say, a bag, most of you will describe it through physical appearance, but not the exact size and the type of materials used in that bag. In other words, you cannot readily give the exact description of the object. Now, in the module that you have right now, you will be guided on how to become observant on the things around you. Keen observation is one way of understanding the science processes like measuring, computing, inferring, generalizing, and drawing conclusions. These processes will help you to acquire and develop the higher order thinking skills. So this is the purpose of your second module, to cover and discuss about the basic science processes. For this module, our targets are for you to, first, differentiate observation from inference, and second, describe observations qualitatively and quantitatively. But before we jump on the topic or the discussion regarding the science processes, let's try to unlock some terms. Okay, you may take these terms or take down these terms in your notebook. Let's define first inference. Inference is an interpretation based on observation. Take note of that. While observation, on the other hand, is the actual perceptions of the senses. Qualitative observation is an observation based on quality only. While quantitative observation, it is an observation based on quantity only. Now, when we speak of quality, it refers to the amount or number of a material or immaterial thing not usually estimated by spatial measurement. Wherein, when we say quantity, it is the standard of something as measured against other things of a similar kind. Okay? So, you may jot down these terms in your notebook, but we will discuss these terms as we cover the topic itself. Now, let's have a pre-test. Okay, in your module, it is entitled What to Do Before. So, in that module, you are to encircle the letter of your choice. But take note, your answers should be placed in a sheet of paper. So, I mean to say, do not write anything in your module. Okay, for numbers 1 to 3, you need to refer to the following situation. A piece of candle was observed by a first-year class before, during, and after it was lighted. The observations were tabulated as follows. So again, there are three setups: before, while, and after. For question number 1, okay, you will answer this specific question. Which of the statements in the first column are qualitative observation? For number 2, which of the statements in the last column are quantitative observation? So you have 4 options. For question number 3, which of the statements in the second column are not qualitative observation? For question number 4, which of the following describes observations? For question number 5, which of the following describes an inference? Okay, so you will choose among the 4 options. Okay, so this is just a pre-test, some sort of a diagnostic test in order to measure what you know about this particular topic. So let us now check your answer if you got the correct answer in every item. So you may check your own paper, please. For number 1, the answer is letter A, 1 and 3 only. For number 2, the answer is letter B, statements 3 and 4 only. For number 3, the answer is letter C, 1 and 3 only. For number 4, the answer is letter A. And last, for number 5, the answer is letter A. Okay, so that is your pre-test. Whatever score you receive, it's okay. If you got perfect score, that's very good. If you receive a 0, it's still okay. Anyway, we will be discussing the concepts embedded in every item in your pre-test. So let's have this introductory concept. There are many things around us that need a closer look, right? It is when we take a long, hard look that we are actually observing. Now, observation involves all of your basic sense organs. So remember, when you do observation, it involves the use of the 5 senses. Through the use of your eyes, nose, ears, tongue, and hands. In an observation, you do not only look, you have to stare. You don't only hear, you try to listen. You don't only taste and smell, you savor. And you don't only touch, you try to feel it. Meaning to say, it's a matter of having this keen observation. Now, most of the time, however, you think you are observing, when in fact you are inferring. While observation is actually seeing, smelling, hearing, tasting, and touching, inferring is making interpretations based on your past observations or experiences. We call this as inference. Now, to help you differentiate between observation and inference, we will be doing an activity after we try to differentiate between the two. Okay? So let's have this. Observation versus inference. So here, we present the difference between the two. As said in the previous slide, observation is something that is fact-based. Meaning to say, you use your 5 senses. Remember those 5 senses. For inference, what you think or decide about something you have observed. So meaning to say, inference just follows after observation. Okay? So you deduce something from your observation. That's how you do some inference. We will be giving example later. Okay, for example, this one. For observation, you have this. That plant is extremely wilted. Okay, so that's an example of observation. So, for example, lanta yung plant, sobrang lanta. Okay, because you use your eye as to your particular sense. But if you try to come up with an inference, this is how you will construct an inference. That plant is extremely wilted due to a lack of water. So, meaning to say, you do not use simply your sense or senses, but, okay, you try to come up with something out of that observation. Okay, so lanta yung plant because it lacks a water. Okay, and saan ba galing yung idea na to? Because previously, your experience tried to dictate it. Okay, so alam mo, di ba, na based on your experience, na lanta yung mga plants na nakikita natin, for example, because hindi siya nadiligan in that case. Okay, another example is this one, observation. The car stopped running. Okay, so what sense or what are the senses you use here? Of course, another particular sense you use is your sight or your sense of seeing, right? Okay, so but in turning that into an inference, you have the statement, the car stopped running because it was out of gas. Okay, of course there could be different scenarios that can happen to that car, but your inference is this one. So you are the one who come up with an inference. So ikaw yung gagawa ng inference base dun sa observation mo. Because ito, yung experience na to, base sa kung ano yung alam mo dati na. Okay? So pwede natin masabi na nag-stop yung car because naplatan. That could be another inference rather. Okay? But in that case, that's also a true inference. Okay? Nag-stop yung car because nawalan siya ng gasolina. So to understand more in the difference between observation and inference, you need to answer this activity 1.1. Okay, what you will do. So you are to read the situation in the box and then write your observation and inferences on the table below. Okay, so let's try to go over with the scenario. So the scenario is presented in the box. Okay, you notice a group of 3 boys and 3 girls talking, laughing, and eating on a table. One boy wears a coat and tie while the other 2 boys dress casually. One of the girls wears a gown while the other girls wear ordinary dresses. As they talk, the boy with the coat and the tie places his right arm over the shoulder of the girl wearing the gown. The 2 other boys shake hands with the 2 other girls. Suddenly, one of the girls cries while the boys dressed ordinarily argue in high tones. The pair who wore formal attire talks to the boy. Then they all walk away from each other in pairs. Okay? So if you will be situated on that scenario, you will just be an observer, right? So probably you can use your sense of sight, your hearing, okay, in that scenario po. Okay? So out of that context or out of that situation, you need to come up with 5 other observations, and out of those 5 observations, you will try to come up with another 5 inferences. Okay, an example or examples were provided in your module. Say for instance, in the example for observation, a group of 3 boys and 3 girls are talking, laughing, and eating on the table. So where did you get that? You get that out of the situation because that's your observation, right? So nakakita ka, okay? Nakakita ka ng tatlong lalaki and tatlong babae na nag-uusap, tumatawa at kumakain ng sabay-sabay sa isang mesa. That's an observation. But out of this observation, you can come up also with an inference. Okay? So an inference is just like this. The three boys and three girls are best friends. Okay? Bakit mo ito nasabi? Kasi nga, sila ay nag-uusap, tumatawa, at kumakain ng sabay-sabay sa table. Okay? You can state it in another manner. Okay? So, but that inference is anchored from your observation. So, wala pong mali dito sa inference as long as it is somewhat aligned to your observation and it is based from your experience. Okay, so I hope you can answer that one. Now for the next activity, for self-test 1.1, you just need to tell whether the given statement is an observation or an inference. Okay, so you have 5 items. So you have 50% chance of getting the correct answer in every item because you have 2 options, observation or inference. Okay, again, how do we say that the statement is observation? You simply use your senses, the 5 senses. How do you say that it's an inference? Because it is based on observation and to your past experiences. Okay, so with those 5 statements, I guess you can answer all of this. Now, after differentiating observation and inference, you can now describe a particular observation, right? So it is stated here that when making observations, it is preferable to express this in quantifiable manner. Quantifiable. The root word is quantify. Okay? There are 3 boys and 3 girls. Is a much better observation. Mas okay yan, di ba? Na-state mo yung specific number kung ilan yung lalaki and ilan yung babae. Than saying that there is a group of boys and girls. So, yung isa, very specific. Yung isa, somewhat generalizing. Okay? Qualitative observations merely describe quality, while quantitative observations express the exact quantity referred to. So here, in this specific part of your module, you will try to distinguish ano ba yung pagkakaiba ng qualitative sa quantitative. Okay? And you will be doing an activity on that. But this is how we compare the two. Qualitative versus quantitative. For qualitative data, it is an information that can't be expressed as number. Again, the key term there, can't be expressed as number. While quantitative data is data that can be expressed as number or can be quantified. Okay? So with that, of course, qualitative data cannot be counted, while quantitative data is a kind of data that can be counted. Okay? So, to give a specific type of data, for qualitative data, we can refer to words, objects, pictures, observations, and symbols. While for quantitative data, since that's quantifiable, we can have this data which includes numbers and statistics. Okay? So, that's how we differentiate qualitative from quantitative data. So just to dwell more on that, okay, you can read on this, the difference between the two. So, yun na nga, for qualitative data, it involves 5 senses stated here in the 3rd item. Okay, while for quantitative, it includes more on measurement. Okay, you count something. That's how we describe quantitative data. Okay, these are specific examples for quantitative and qualitative data. For example, 20% of survey respondents bought ice cream today. That's quantitative. Why is that? Because you have a figure here, 20% of your respondents. While this one is more on qualitative data. Well, why is that? Because, okay, wala ka naman makikitang number dito or figures dito, di ba? It is stated that I bought the ice cream because I saw it when I was in the checkout line. I wanted to treat myself. Okay, so it's matter of using your keen senses or observation in this case. So if you will try to look at the examples presented in this left part for quantitative data, may makikita tayong mga numbers or figures: 20%. $500, $5, 50%, 3.5 out of 5. Well, for this one, for qualitative data, we just have this more on words, descriptions, okay? Like this one, I like a lot of toppings on my pizza, more on cheese, sauce, pepperoni, and olives, okay? So that's how we distinguish between the two. Now, for your activity, you have this self-test 2.1. You just need to differentiate quantitative observation from qualitative observation. Okay? So, in the left part, you can see the one that is listed in qualitative observation, and in your right part, okay, so you have there the quantitative observation. So, meaning to say, ano bang gagawin dito? So, gagawa ka ng quantitative observation at ibabase mo ito sa qualitative observation na nakalista dito sa left column. Okay? An example is provided also. Okay, let's try to discuss this example. There is a small amount of water in the beaker. What is that? Is that qualitative or quantitative? Obviously, it's qualitative because unang-una, wala kang makikitang number dyan. Pangalawa, descriptions yung provided dito, like small amount. Hindi siya specific, right? Wherein, this one is a quantitative observation because yung small na tinutukoy dito, you can be more specific on that. And in that case, what is provided here is that 30 ml. And that 30 ml is a figure, right? So the amount of water in the beaker is 30 ml. That's a quantitative observation. Okay? So you can do that in the rest of the statements po. Again, your quantitative observation should be based from your qualitative observation. Now, for another part of self-test 2.1, you just need to determine whether the statement is qualitative or quantitative. So again, you have your two options po. Okay? So you can get clues from every statement, in every statement po. So I guess you can do this po. Okay? Take note and go back to the definitions for qualitative and quantitative observation. So when you quantify your observation, you need to use some mathematical concepts like measurements and formulas for determining specific like area and volume of particular objects. Okay, so that's it. Now in this case, you just need to read more on what is being presented in your module just to understand more on the topic. Okay, so just read this one, but here meron tayong more examples on how you can come up with observation and inference. Okay, so take note that in this case meron tayong gecko, okay, na nilagay as specific example. Okay po, so just read on this and para may matutunan pa kayo lalo na sa pagkakaiba ng inference at ng observation. The two terms are different from each other. Take note of that. Okay, so with that, you can now answer your post-test. Okay, so in this post-test, we have few items only. Okay, so for questions 1 and 2, just refer to the statements, the 4 statements. Okay, and for numbers 1 and 2, you will base them on those statements. For number 1, which of the statements is or are qualitative observations? Choose among the 4 options. For number 2, which of the statement is or are quantitative observations? Again, choose in the 4 statements presented above. And for number 3, all of the following are quantitative observation except. Okay, so just choose one from the 4 options. You can do this, my dear students. Okay, but let's try to check on that. Okay, so those are the 3 statements or the 3 questions, and I will be the one to check that. Anyway, we only have 3 items on that, and I guessed, okay, you will receive perfect score on that post test because natutunan nyo naman yung pagkakaiba ng observation sa inference and pagkakaiba ng quantitative observation sa qualitative observations. So congratulations, my dear students, for finishing the second module, specifically on the basic science processes. Okay, so till next time, see you in another video lesson episode. Thank you and goodbye.